Hi everyone, welcome to 8th Row Amplified, powered by PleasantonExpress.com. I'm your host, Heaven Marquez, and today I have with me Charlie Gallegos as your co-host, and we are super excited to talk this morning with the members of Safer Path. Guys,
yes.
Good morning.
Yeah,
Thank
you
so much for
morning.
coming over here and hanging out with us today.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Really good to be here. I'm Cheyenne, Community Engagement Coordinator with Safer Path.
And I'm Andrea Rathmel. I'm the Education Manager at Safer Path.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So we're going to open up today and talk about, so February is the Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, and we're going to focus on that. So can you explain what y'all do for February promoting, teen dating violence awareness?
Yeah, absolutely. We do so much. I feel like if you don't see us this month, then we
When you haven't been out.
Yeah, you haven't been out. Living under a rock. So we really push heavy on our social media page. A lot of really great free resources to our community for teens, but also really great stuff for parents to look at and be able to have really engaging conversations with their teens about, as well as we go to do proclamations at the city and counties. So Atticus County, McMullen, and then all of our surrounding counties or cities here, proclaiming that it's Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month,
Right.
And that this is a really important topic, and all of our cities and counties are great about really being on board with that as well and wanting to spread the message in that way. We just talked about this earlier, but our thrift store, the Begin Again thrift store, is Safer Paths thrift store, but through our windows, we like to educate our community as well. So this month, it's teen dating violence geared, like that. It'll show a scene of that and it has statistics on it in the windows, and it's just a great way to catch our community in a different way, right? And then also aiming back to what our thrift store is there for, and the proceeds go back to Safer Path and our clients. So,
Awesome.
As well as being in the schools teaching safe dates.
Right.
And I know Andrea and Michaela were just there at Pleasanton High School at the cafeteria, just with our free resources for the teens. So that, and then teaching our safe dates in the schools.
Awesome. So how would y'all define teen dating violence?
So it's similarly to domestic violence, how you define that. It's a pattern of controlling behaviors that one person is using to control their partner, right? And so what we see with adults is the emotional abuse, the verbal abuse, the physical abuse. You see that escalation. We also see that with teens as well. So it's the same type of dynamics, just with a younger age group. And you're not going to see certain factors like with adults, you see economic abuse. 90% of survivors, or actually it's 99% of survivors, experience economic abuse or financial abuse along with other types. With teens, you're typically not sharing a home. You're typically not sharing finances. But it still can happen. But yeah, so basically the same thing. Pattern of behavior, power and control.
Right. Okay.
And I guess going off of that, how can someone identify a teen who is going through teen dating violence?
What's to look out for?
Yeah.
So I like to tell parents, teachers, coaches, anybody that's around their teens, watch for changes in the output of that teen. So are they changing their appearance? Are they changing their behavior and their personality? Are they isolating and starting to pull back from things that they really love? So sports, are their grades dropping? And all of this, right, is happening, together. So it's not just one isolated thing. It's things happening at the same time that you're like, this is not normal, right? Or even as a friend of the teen, like this isn't normal for my friend. And starting to change all of those outputs that really make them who they are and who they've been.
Yeah. And they'll tell, if you have a listening ear, they will tell you. They'll say things like, well, and I'm going to use he as the predominant aggressor or the abuser or the person causing harm, and she is a victim. Statistically, that's what we see, predominantly men's violence against women. But we know boys can be victims too, and all types of this teen dating violence exists in all different types of relationships. And so let's say she may say, well, he doesn't like it when, or I don't really want to talk to them anymore because he doesn't like it when I talk to them. When you see restrictions, and like Cheyenne was saying, the output, like how are they behaving? Have they changed? Are they not doing as many things as they used to do? And their overall happiness, right, has that declined where they're only spending time with their partner? I know, like Cheyenne mentioned, we talk to teens, and one of the big things that misconceptions is, one of the questions that I was like, oh yeah, that's a good one, what are some misconceptions that teens have about dating violence? Is
Right.
that you should completely relinquish yourself to this person, right? This person becomes the center of your world, and I have to devote all of my time. They're the priority in my life, and that's just not true.
Right.
We encourage, and the curriculum that we use is too, really focuses on that independence, right? When you think about a partnership, it's two people coming together, bringing their best self, not devoting or giving up who they are for their partner. And so noticing those changes in behavior, I do want to say one thing, the misconception too with adults, not only parents, but adults, is that teen dating violence, if they think it's a problem, most parents, 80% of parents don't think it's an issue. And then of those who do think it's an issue, don't think it's that big a deal. It's like, oh, they're kids, right? They'll figure it out. I don't want to step on any toes,
Or it's teen drama.
Yeah, or
It's
they'll
not that
get
big a
over
deal.
it.
They'll
Yeah.
even tell the teen, this is not a big deal. Why is this affecting you so much?
Minimizing
it.
the experiences in general, not just with dating violence, but their feelings are valid and they're
Right.
real and they're very, very big,
Big.
right?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
hormones and teenagers. And so really just validating them and understanding that just because they're in that younger age group experiencing dating violence or dating abuse, they're still at risk. They're at risk of the
Right.
worst of
Yeah.
dating violence, which ends in homicide. Which I can talk about a little bit about that later, but we really need to look at this as a safety concern.
Yeah.
Emotional safety and physical safety.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also really hitting on like how you're saying with parents, I think it's important too to remember that we were all teens once
Right.
too. And
Right.
we like remembering that, I know like I can remember it, and just talking with some of like trusted adults in my life, being able to have that adult figure that's like validating those experiences that it also like you went through as well. I think there's a teen living in all of us, right?
Right.
As well as there's teens walking out in the world. So it's important to talk about it, right? Yeah. So
And if we don't know what it is, right? If we have a certain idea of what dating violence is, and we think, oh, well, that's not what I experienced, and we minimize, we're not able to recognize what the definitions are and what the types of abuse are, we may not even realize that that's something that we've experienced.
So the key is not to minimize what these teens are, telling us as parents or telling their peers or telling their teachers, not to minimize that, because it could be an issue.
Yeah. It could easily be labeled as drama.
yeah.
Teen
Right.
drama.
I could
Right?
see that.
And because it
Yeah.
happens. Their social lives are so important to them right now.
And it feels like the end all be all of the world, right? And sometimes I think where the parent, maybe this is where they're coming from, or as somebody who's past that stage, it can be like there's life outside of this. While that's true, that is a true statement. It can, depending on how it is brought to the teen, it can come across as the minimizing when maybe that's not the intent. Because when you do get past it, you see like, oh wow, there's so much more life outside of maybe what I did think as a teen, but at the time it was real. At the time it was very important because that is their life. And that's also true as well.
Yeah. So with social media, that's a huge factor. What have you seen in social media that has made teen dating violence, harder to navigate? Do you think there's pressures that they see on social media that's like, oh my gosh, they see something and it's like they are like, oh my goodness, like what if am I going through this? Or like I'm sure teens Google things and there's just so much on social media that might influence their teen dating.
Of course, yeah. So 95% of teens age 13 to 17 have social media.
Right.
Of some kind.
That is true.
I'm not going to get them all, but Snapchat, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, they are engaged and connected somehow. So if we're saying that the majority of teens are on social media the majority of the time, then we need to be aware of what they have access to. And also, again, not minimizing the controlling behaviors that happen in real life and in person still exist online. And it doesn't mean that they don't have lesser impacts. And it's actually easier, right? And it's different. It changes the dynamic. We were talking about this. Something that maybe people wouldn't consider is who you follow or who you like, right? That is another, in person, right? Maybe in the halls you could say, physically, I don't want you to be around so and so. I don't like you hanging around them. Okay, well, that's one thing. But then I'm also going to control who you follow and what you like that picture. Why did you like that picture? Do you like them? So we see jealousy increase and get magnified,
Absolutely.
not only in real life but also digitally.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I think is also really important on just like how drastically it's changed teen dating violence with the added digital abuse aspect that we've had in the last 20 years is that there's not an escape from it anymore.
Right.
It can be 24 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, teens nowadays would say that their living life is the same as their social media life, right? Like it has the same impact.
Yeah.
And so we like looking at like where those pressures are coming from. That has to be a huge one for our teens growing up right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And we even hear some pushback from teens when we do our curriculum. We have these conversations, and we'll kind of throw some myths out there. And one of them is password sharing. And they will say, well, that's how we build trust, is getting their passwords and being able to go through, like, how else can I trust them? Like, well, if that already shows you don't trust your partner. So that's already a red flag of an abusive relationship.
You have to have something
that monitors or,
to have trust with somebody, then you don't actually trust them.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. You have to control it to be able to trust
you shouldn't have to prove.
You shouldn't have to
Yeah.
prove.
Right.
Another thing, it's an activity that we do, and we have a relationship spectrum, and it's called, the relationship spectrum. It's called, that's what it's called. And it goes from healthy, unhealthy to abusive. And really, because kids love the term toxic. That is their favorite word. It's toxic, they're toxic, she's toxic, he's toxic. And so we're trying to reframe that to calling it for what it is, which is abusive. That's abusive. That's controlling behavior. We want to be specific because it's like the drama. That's dramatic, or there's a lot of drama with that relationship. No, that relationship is abusive, and he's or she's being controlling. And so, anyways, being able to label and recognize a difference. And so we do an activity where we ask them a question. And some of them are really easy, like, your partner encourages you to do the things you love. Is that healthy, unhealthy, or abusive? Well, that's easy. They all agree, yes, it's healthy. But then there's one, and it says, your partner controls who you follow on social media. And sometimes nobody really ever thinks that it's healthy. They kind of know there's an issue with that.
Right.
But they're like, is it unhealthy or is it actually abusive? And so the answer to that is, and then we'll ask them too, what information or whose name does it ask for when you sign up for social media? And they're like, well, my name. Does it ask for your partner's name? Well, no, it doesn't. And so it kind of like the light bulb, that's because it's about you. You have the right to share the things that you like and follow who you like. And of course, making the clear difference between parental supervision versus partner control.
Right.
Like
Yes.
your parents, I'm not here to tell you, that's their own rules.
Yeah.
But your partner, right, who's the same age as you, who is your peer, should not have control
They should
over
not
what
give
you
you
like.
rules for
Right.
that.
And
That makes sense.
if there's a problem there with the trust, and that's the only way that they can feel like they have trust, you can set a boundary, and the relationship doesn't have to make sense anymore, and you can go both ways. Your ways. You don't have to stay together and fight about that, right? So having those boundaries is so important as well,
Right.
even digitally.
Yeah, I remember that being a huge thing whenever, like, I was in high school. Of course, it was only a few years ago, but of course, like, everyone wanted to know what their boyfriend was doing on social media. Oh, well, he can't follow any girls anymore. And
Wow.
it's just it's a big thing, and I guess I never realized how controlling and how it's a lot.
Think
It's
about
very
how
overwhelming.
Yes.
impossible that is. And we do lots. I'm kind of running through activities that we do, but like you say,
Yeah.
in real life, okay, so a boyfriend tells his girlfriend, I don't want you to hang out. I don't like you hanging out with other guys. Well, that's kind of impossible. And what
Right.
we talk about is look around the classroom. How many guys are in here? You're forced physically,
Yes.
one. And the burden that you carry, your focus isn't going to be on your schoolwork. Your focus isn't going to be on the things that bring you joy. Your focus is going to be on, how do I not upset this person? I need to make sure I'm not around that person.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that I'm not around a bunch of guys, or I'm not following. So you take that same concept in a physical space and put it to an online space, and you're kind of limited everywhere.
It's just 24/7. That's all you're thinking about.
Absolutely.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Wow. That really puts everything kind of a little bit more into perspective.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And that's way too much for teens to be going through. Like, as a teen, it's already tough. But then them having to navigate that and think about that 24/7, that has to be very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And like you said, it becomes a social norm.
Yeah.
For the password sharing, they still give us pushback. They're like, no, miss,
They
that's
try
healthy.
to defend it or
That's healthy.
yeah.
And so, and if you,
Wow.
like Cheyenne said, being comfortable with your boundaries, like if you already know, for me, I'm not going to share my password. So when we first start dating and I really like you, I might, if I have healthy boundaries, I might say like, hey, just FYI, no matter how serious we get, my phone's my phone. And I'm not sharing my passwords with you. And being confident and comfortable sharing that with your partner.
Those are very good things to teach young adults, because they're trying to learn how to date and they don't know what's right and what's wrong, and then just them like being confident and knowing their boundaries is going to give them those healthy steps into a good relationship.
Yeah, I think that's our biggest goal with our Safe Dates program. It's building that confidence in teens. Like, hey, let's have these conversations about how do you want to be treated in a relationship? Has anyone ever asked you that before? What is your boundary line that should not ever be crossed? Do you know what that is? Because if you don't, how do you know when it's crossed?
Yeah.
Right.
And then the more that you do that, it's any skill, right? You're never great the first time you do something, ever.
Right.
So it's doing it over and over again, and then being
Practicing it, yeah.
so like confident in your conviction of that boundary and sticking with it, and just to where like no matter what happens. And I don't know. I just think that's the biggest thing that we're trying
In
to do.
both ways.
Right? Yes.
Knowing what your boundaries are, but then how do you respect your
Other
partner?
people's.
Right? So we're talking to two
That's
sets
true.
of people there. We're talking to people who have potentially experienced some sort of controlling behavior, and then the person who is doing the controlling behavior. And our curriculum does address that too. It doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Yeah.
If you recognize that you've done some of those things and you're kind of feeling it, that's okay. You have an opportunity. Well, one, now you know. But two, you can change. You can be different. This isn't a sentence for the rest of your life that you have to continue to be this way, but it is a big opportunity for you to change the kind of partner you are. And really your overall wellness and your overall, also think about how exhausting and the mental space it takes to control somebody. Your focus is on them, and then it almost over time always gets worse, and this person typically almost always becomes more controlling as they get older.
Takes over their life.
Yeah.
Changes
If they don't change
their
it, right?
personality.
If they don't
Right.
change it.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked a little bit about setting these healthy boundaries between teens. What can you kind of say, and what advice can you give to parents of these teens who are going through this, and how they can really, talk a little bit about digital safety without feeling too overwhelming for their child and being intrusive with them?
Right, intruding. Because as parents, you don't want to, obviously you want to educate your children and like have those conversations, but then you don't want to intrude, because then the child might push back.
Absolutely.
So there's that balance.
Think, absolutely. And at some point, it might always seem like an intrusion. But I would always cautious on the safety as a parent. But I think be proactive instead of reactive. If we're starting these things as a parent early, like before they even have the phone, right? And starting to talk about social media and what's healthy online. Do they know what that is? What apps are they even on? Do I, like as a parent, know what the landscape of that app is?
Right.
So being proactive instead of reactive can help those being intrusive, like statements maybe by a teen, decrease a little bit, because we've already set these boundaries as parent and child about social media and about this phone before you even had it. So we both know where that line is. Guess what? Now you're modeling to your kid what setting boundaries looks like and sticking to them before they even have the social media. And then it's just continuously checking in, continuously talking, and being curious as a parent about what's going on social media, what's going on with your friends, what's going on. And whenever you see signs, checking in, right?
Yeah.
And it may seem intrusive at that point, even if you do all of that stuff and be proactive. But at the end of the day, you're the parent, right? And you want to make sure they're safe. And so safety over anything. and being proactive.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I'd love to hear what you have to.
Well, just like Cheyenne's saying, like being proactive is super important. But if you haven't made that step yet and you're in it, it's always going to feel intrusive to them, no matter how good of a relationship you have, and that's normal. And that's okay. And also, as a parent, you're not alone in this. There's a lot of great resources and tools out there.
Okay.
Love is Respect has some talking points for how parents can start this conversation. But the big thing too, I think, is being honest with them.
Right.
And not, going to the worst case scenario every time, being honest and saying like, hey, I want to make sure you're safe. When you kick it back to safety, not just physical safety, but emotional safety, I want to make sure you're safe. And this is how I do that, right? And then also as a parent, getting to know your own boundaries. How do you want to parent around this? But also, it's not that much different as an in-person. If our child was in danger in real life, we would feel pretty confident in addressing that. If our child is in danger online, we still need to feel confident and comfortable having those. And they're going to be awkward conversations. But again, there's great resources and great tools out there that can help you start those conversations, but building trust with them, being comfortable with your boundaries as a parent. Like Cheyenne said, what are your rules in your home? It's going to be specific to you. And just also, hey, it's okay. They're probably not going to like it anyway, but it's okay. It's going to be okay.
and creating a space where they want to come to you
Yes.
and they feel safe to come to you, I think is so important, because teens are just little adults that don't have as much information as we do, so they're going to mess up as we do as adults still. And if they know that you're a safe place to go to, even when they mess up, that's where you can grow, right? And that's where you can help your teen grow. And I think it's so important that parents know that it's okay, that they're not going to get it right all the time. It is going to feel awkward. But I'm sure it feels that way for your teen too. So you're in it together.
And we've seen a rise, you've probably seen it on the news, in these sextortion cases where kids find themselves wrapped up in what started seemingly small or as a relationship, building trust with this person that they don't really know, and then they find themselves in a sextortion situation and they feel like they don't have anybody to tell. They don't know who to talk to, and then tragically they take their life. And so what we want to do is prevent that, and to know that there's a way out. There's also the person who is doing this extortion is the one who is causing the harm. They're the ones responsible for it, not you. You may have, as a kid, you may have found yourself thinking there's no way out, but there is. And that's another thing that we encourage teens is adult. It's great that you have good friends. I'm glad you trust your friends, but you need one adult in your life that you trust and feel safe to saying something to them like that, or embarrassing, or you may not want other people to know. That person is going to look out for you. That person's going to want to make sure you're safe. And sometimes, unfortunately, kids are like, I don't have anybody, miss. I don't know anybody. I don't want to tell. I don't feel comfortable. And I'm like, as we're in the school, and I'm like, I just passed lots of teachers and principals in the hallway who care about you. There is somebody here that you can talk to. And so just not feeling alone in that.
Not feeling alone. And then if none of that resonates with you, and you don't want anyone to know who you are, but you just need to talk about it, Safer Path is here. You can call anonymously and just get that emotional support. You can. There's lots of great contacts on Love is Respect. There's a national hotline for teen dating violence. So there's
chats. You can text.
Yeah, if you don't want to talk, I know talking on the phone is going away for some people.
And chatting. It's not therapy, but just reaching out to someone and saying hey,
this is happening.
This is what's going on. And
if you feel like you don't have support in the physical world, that like a teacher or a parent or somebody really close, like a trusted adult. Friends are great. Trusted adults are key.
Okay, so teens can call y'all. They can call your hotline. I know they can't, but that y'all can guide them just by a simple phone call.
Emotional support is probably one of the most services that we offer to people calling and asking for help, and not even just asking for help, but wanting someone to talk to that they know is going to listen and not judge. And then of course with adults, then once we provide that emotional support, then we go from there, schedule an appointment, what do we need to do next steps. But with teens, definitely being able to provide that emotional support over the phone anonymously. You don't have to tell us your name.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, what programs or resources, of course, y'all talked about the phone call, and y'all go around to these schools, but what else do y'all have to offer to teens to really teach them about healthy relationships?
So, well, on a much more broader scale, like Cheyenne was saying, the cafeteria sitting is so fun.
Okay.
We set up in the cafeteria, we have a table, we hand out flyers like, hey, you want a sticker, you want some candy, and just being present. We go to National Night Out, and they're like, hey, miss, I saw you at our school. Like, being present, popping
Year
up.
round.
I know Pleasanton ISD will do a mental health fair. We set up a table there. So they're seeing us different places throughout the year. We also invite them to engage in what we're doing. Touch the mic. And what we're doing, our proclamations, like Cheyenne mentioned, we invite them to come. We'll give you volunteer service hours.
Awesome.
If you're willing to come and even speak or just be present, I think also it's good for our community leaders, back to proclamations, to see the work that we're doing with the youth and that it does make a difference and have them to be involved in that way. As far as direct services, I had to ask our shelter director before, because that was one of the questions that I was like, I want to make sure I get this right. So if a teen survivor, or if a teenager has experienced domestic violence specifically, or sexual assault, we can provide them with shelter. But there are some stipulations because our services are for adults, right?
Right.
So a teenager ages 16 and 17 can stay up to 15 days if they're in shelter if they're in imminent danger. But we are mandated reporters, so we do have to report that to CPS. But we let the survivor calling know that. We say like, hey, thanks for calling. This is what we can do, but we are also going to notify CPS. And that's where that 15 days come in. It gives time. One, we want them to be safe, but it gives CPS time to get involved and assess the situation. Okay, it's not a long-term solution to that. In addition to that, other stipulations, if they're pregnant, or they can stay in our shelter if they're already a parent, or if they're the primary, if they have the...
You can owe your job.
Like if they have a job, if they're the primary income for the home. Right? So we have seen situations where a teenager did have a job and was going to school and making the money in the home, but was experiencing abuse from her father that she was living with. So things like that, it's really situational, and we don't get a lot of those calls, especially teenagers looking for shelter. That's just not something
we get a lot more emotional calls. Emotional support.
You get those calls for them. They just want somebody to talk to. Are these some of the? I saw a flyer there. Is this what y'all have at the schools?
I had to bring it. So that's another thing. Again, being present physically, but also digitally. One fun thing Pleasanton High School is doing is they are putting the background, February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, on the back of their Chromebooks.
Awesome.
And so I think that was super fun. But this is our brochure. We take these everywhere. We make sure the counselor's offices have them, or the front office, wherever they want to put them, the school wants to put them. And then it's just in it, it's got some facts and some things and some resources. Another thing that we do, and I should have brought it and I didn't, we call it a bathroom flyer. Goes on the back of the bathroom, and it's for teens. Like, what is dating violence? Where can you get help? You're not alone. These are some red flags.
Awesome.
And then Cheyenne does all this. She's amazing.
So cute.
The colors are orange, but we throw in purple because it's domestic violence. We've got Love is Respect and
stickers. They love these.
Yes, they
I'm sure.
love these.
I'm sure.
They're like, Miss, I already have that one. Can I get one of those?
They got to collect them all.
Literally,
We want to make it fun
every year.
and something that they can feel proud
with
to
them
wear
and remember throughout the year, not just February.
And key is just, remembering safer path. Like, that's the key. Like, it's a sticker, but it's also recognizing, hey, this is safer path. There's shelter that I can talk to.
This is a local resource that's here, and seeing us multiple times throughout the year. It just reinforces that we're that safe.
And
place
normalizing those conversations. The same with domestic violence. We don't want people to shy away and be like, I don't really know. That seems like it's kind of a private deal. No, we want to talk about it. We want to call it for what it is, and we want to make these conversations normal and comfortable.
Right. And that's probably the hardest thing to do with teens.
It is.
Yeah. But, that's why we have y'all here to help us help the community. All right.
If a teen thinks that they may be in an unhealthy relationship, what should be their first steps?
Safety planning saves lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be an organized safety plan, but if you are at a point where you recognize, hey, I might be in an unhealthy or even abusive relationship, reflect back on, you want to kind of think about what they have told you, right? Have they ever threatened to hurt you if you left them? We know leaving is the most dangerous time in a victim's or survivor's life when she's leaving the relationship, whether you're talking about adults or whether you're talking about teens. So assess your safety, or if you don't know how, ask for help.
Okay.
We talked about Safer Path. Talk to a friend, talk to somebody, because one of the big reasons why control works is it works in isolation. And so they want to isolate that person so where they don't tell people what's going on. And also remember that you're not alone. There's literally a whole organization and many, many organizations dedicated to preventing domestic violence, and that's what this is, right? We know there's studies and precursor behaviors to recognize what is going to happen with adults, right?
Yeah, early intervention is
early
so
intervention, prevention, and that's what this is. But to answer your question, safety planning, talk to someone, that safe adult that we talked to. Do you have someone you can reach out to? Or even talking to a friend, which is what we also talk about in our curriculum, is how to help a friend. Do you feel comfortable and confident if a friend were to come to you?
Yeah,
Would you
because
kind
9
of be
times
like,
out of 10, they're going to go to their friend before they go to a trusted adult, just because they're all going through the same things and they maybe feel more comfortable to do that. They may, think they may get in trouble if they go to an adult. And so that's why the trusted adult is the very important piece of that end. But equipping teens to help teens as well.
Yeah. I did want to say one more thing about the leaving is the most dangerous time. So I pulled some numbers. So one of the things that we as a state, our statewide coalition does is put together the Honoring Texas Victims report. And basically it's a report statewide that captures the fatalities of intimate partner violence that results in homicide specifically. So and they've been doing this report, I don't even know, it's been several years, but I went back just a couple years because in 2022, there were 15 teens killed by an intimate partner in 2022 in Texas alone.
Wow.
The youngest victim being age 13. And so when I have a 13-year-old and thinking about the level of danger that teens can experience in a dating relationship, right? This is kids killing kids, because the perpetrators are not some 20-year-old typically. They're also a teenager as well. Looking at that 19 and under age group. And then that was just the biggest year. And then 2023, 8 of the victims of that year were teenagers. So we're looking at this as prevention. Of course, we want people to be safe, but also there are indicators to know the level of lethality that someone is in. So we really want them to reach out for help. We really want them to examine the danger that they might be in. And to really to reach out to somebody.
And know that help is
there.
And that we have local
Yeah.
help, which is amazing as well.
All right, guys, so what message do y'all have to teens? So what do you want them to hear from all of this information, gather from everything that y'all have already said?
I think the core thing is really that they're not alone. We've thrown out so many resources being here, us Safer Path being one of them. Also, we believe you. There's going to be no judgment ever. We believe you, and there's no, you don't deserve abuse of any kind. And you're not alone. Also, just an actionable step for this month, we want to encourage everybody to join us on Tuesday, February 10th. It's Wear Orange Day. Orange is the awareness color for Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. Post your picture and tag us in it. We'd love to see everybody wearing orange in our community, just in support for our teens. We'll be doing it at Safer Path, and
even if it's not
I know,
exactly
even
orange,
if it's like orange,
we
do
kind of
what
run
you
out.
can.
Burnt
If
orange
it's kind of
counts.
brown, we'll take it.
Yeah, we know orange is kind of hard to find.
It is.
But join us for this month and be active with us on social media.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate y'all coming out.
Like what Charlie was saying, thank y'all so much for coming out and talking with us. I know that this is a serious topic, and it's something that teens really need to be aware of, and they need to know that they have someone on their side, like you guys. So we appreciate all that y'all have done in the community, and again, thank you for taking time out of your day to come over here and talk with us. Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has been great.
That was 8th Row Amplified here with Safer Path, guys. Again, thank y'all. Thank you so much for tuning into 8th Row Amplified, powered by PleasantonExpress.com. We appreciate all of your support, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.